Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter and Steven. Say what up, Steven.
Hello, everyone.
We're back with more Commander grades. But this time, Steven, we're switching it up and we're finally getting to the multicolored legendary creatures that can be your commander. This is the one that everybody's excited for because there are some bangers from this set that you can run as your commander. You excited, Steven?
Yep, we got about 100 more cards to talk about. So this is exciting.
It's actually only 45.
Oh,
45 multicolored. Uh,
oh yeah, we're almost there.
But, Steven, like I said, there are some bangers. If you guys wanted to see the other grades we've done for all of the other legendaries from this set, check the links in the description below and check them out. But these are just our opinions. We give our grade for these cards, average grade between us, and just move on. Before we get started, just want to remind everybody to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, because you don't want to miss out on any of the other content that we're constantly putting out. But Steven, let's kick it off with this first card. This first one, Absolute Virtue. 6 white and a blue for an 8/8 legendary creature, Avatar Warrior. It says this spell can't be countered. It's got flying, and it says you have protection from each of your opponents. In case you don't know what that means, is you can't be dealt damage, enchanted, or targeted by anything controlled by your opponents.
But your things can.
You are absolutely correct. That does not say anything about them messing with your stuff, just they can't mess with you as a player. Uh, is this card good?
Uh, yes and no, right? So I guess my thing is, you can't be targeted, right? So there are a lot of cards out there that say each opponent.
It's true.
Does this stop it?
No.
Exactly.
Same reason.
So
Yeah, I was going to say, same reason why each opponent has to sacrifice something and you have something with hexproof or indestructible. That's how it gets around that.
so yes, I do think this card is good. No, I don't think this card is good. If that makes sense. It's really weird. This card is very specific. Now, obviously, you're building around this card. You're doing the thing to gain protection from everything at some point, but it's just really tough. I think 8 mana is pretty stout.
8 mana is pretty stout. I will say, though, I mean, we just alluded to if it says each, I mean, technically you do get protected by damage. So if like Chandra's Ignition went off, you're protected by that. You can't take that damage. But I will say this is your 100% stacks controlly commander, right? You were just playing all of your pieces, just continuously filling up the board with just things that people hate. And then you play your commander, and now you just sit back and just watch a stalemate happen. That's not the kind of game I like.
Yeah, I mean, some people like that kind of play style.
Oh, I know.
Shane is one included. But I think, when I think about this card, I'm like, okay, cool. It does this thing. Why wouldn't I just play Grand Arbiter?
Mm-hmm.
It's cheaper. It
Mm-hmm.
makes my spells cost cheaper. It makes my spells that my opponents cast cost more. I understand that this gives me protection from everything. Can't be countered. It's a flying 8/8, which is pretty solid. But if you're playing stacks, for the most part, you're probably not like swinging a lot. Now with this, that kind of changes that mindset a little bit. But
Yeah.
I feel like there are other stacks commander that do it better and cheaper.
Well, that's what this changes, right? It changes the stacks into a, hey, I'm going to stacks out the board, and then I'm going to drop this once I have that mana, and then just start going to town and swinging this at you and killing you with commander damage. This actually does turn the stacks gameplay up, right? It turns it into a different strategy, turns it into more of a, hey, I'm actually going to finish this game instead of just sit back in a stalemate, like I was just saying. Um,
Yeah, but like the main issue with, this is how am I going to be able to check my text messages on my phone? If I have to like concentrate more on swinging, at least like when I'm sitting back and just like, maybe watching the game come around, like I got things to do. Like I'm busy.
Yeah. Well, let's move on to the grades, Steven. I'll kick us off. I still think 8 is a lot, even though you are probably just building up to it. So I'm just going to give it a C.
I'm gonna put this at a B. Like I know I kind of like downplayed it a lot, but anytime you have a card like this with the effects that this has, it is still pretty strong. And being in blue white controlly, people are gonna hate you, and you're just gonna be the one that they're just like, all right, you, me, and you, he's out first. So I mean, for that, I can't give it an AA. But if this was like 4 mana, maybe didn't say can't be countered. Maybe, but I'm sticking to a B here.
Well, Absolute Virtue kicking off the video with an average of a B. Moving on, we've got Balthier and Fran. 1 red and a green for a 4/3 legendary creature, human rabbit. It's got reach, and it says vehicles you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance and reach. It also says whenever a vehicle crewed by Balthier and Fran this turn attacks, if it's the first combat phase of the turn, you may pay 1 green and a red. If you do, after this phase, there's an additional combat phase. We've got extra combats with vehicles, Steven, in Gruul.
I mean, so here's my thing, and why I kind of actually really enjoy this card. I think, is that not the cheapest extra combat pay you've ever seen?
It is actually pretty cheap, unless you're just one of those other cards that just attack and says when it attacks, you get an extra combat.
Yeah. But I mean, even then, like those cards are usually like 4 mana. So you still technically pay more. You have to wait an entire turn cycle. This, if you have enough mana, you can basically play this the turn it comes down, crew that vehicle, and then swing in and then get that extra combat.
You're not wrong. I understand that it's a cheap cost to do extra combats, but those other creatures they do, if they stick around, they always just have free combats after that. But this is a very interesting lane that we don't really see. I feel like vehicles as a whole are not very viable in EDH. Now that they've changed the rulings that you can have vehicles as a commander, maybe there's going to be something different. But I feel like this is actually kind of pushing that lane of, hey, we care about vehicles here so much so that we're going to give them +1/+1 vigilance and reach and extra combats. I think that's a lot to do with vehicles.
I mean, yeah, but I mean, this card is great. Most of the time, I think the biggest issue, obviously, with vehicles is you crew your vehicle, you swing with it, and then it's back to being a vehicle.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're left usually completely wide open.
Yeah. And I love the fact, once again, I'm just going to reread the card. Vigilance, so they can stay back, like you just said, on blocks if you have anything that can stay back, even if it didn't get crewed. Also, fantastic include is a Seeker's Chariot into this. Keep making those cats.
Keep making those cats, yeah.
I like it. Let's move on to the grade, Steven. I actually think this is enough of a viable commander where I'm gonna give this a B.
Yeah, I'm gonna join you at a B. I think this is pretty strong. I love the fact that it's a cheap payoff for extra combats and vehicles with vigilance, reach, and +1/+1. There's some mean vehicles out there.
Yeah, I think it's fun. I like things that do different things, and this is what that does. Takes vehicles in another level. But Balthier and Fran gets the average grade of a B. Moving on, we've got Black Waltz number 3. Forget the other two. This is 2, a black and a red for a 2/2 legendary creature wizard. It has flying and death touch and says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, Black Waltz number 3 deals 2 damage to each opponent. This can get out of hand very quickly, Steven.
Yeah, I agree. I am curious. Is this just like an upgraded or modified Black Wizard?
Pretty much, yeah. It's number 3. Okay.
Yeah, so it's like they did the experiment on that first poor Black Wizard, and it did not go well. Then they were like, "Oh, let's try it again." And well, here we are, number 3 successful. All right, but yeah, flying death touches, nothing to scoff at. It is a little unfortunate that this is 4 mana, but the effect is pretty good. I had the opportunity to face this commander at MagicCon Vegas, which was really fun. Riley built this, and it does do the thing very well. But I do think Kuja is way better, and we'll talk about Kuja later, obviously. But this built a certain way, and Hunter, I think I'll let you take this one from here.
Yeah, if you build this in a way of like Cheerios, essentially, all those 0 mana spells, this can get out of hand very quickly. You're just dealing 2 damage every time you cast those spells to each opponent. You got any kind of damage doubling effects, damage tripling effects on the field, the game's pretty much over. You win. So
yeah.
And this is dealing the damage too. I love cards that say it does damage instead of just losing life, because attach anything to this equipment that gives yourself lifelink. You're going to be gaining 6 life every time it does damage to each opponent. Or, I always say, grafted exoskeleton. Deal it in terms of poison counters. It's a really mean thing to do.
Yeah, as soon as you started making that comparison, I immediately think to myself that you have a binder just filled with grafted exoskeletons at the house.
That would be something, but I don't. I don't even think I own one copy. I just talk about that card a lot.
You seem to like it. You might as well just do it. You play
Just,
Finn the Fangbearer, might as well.
you never know. But Black Waltz, I don't know if we could say anything else other than, hey, it's pretty straightforward. You cast non-creatures, you're dealing damage. You're draining your
Yeah, and
opponents so fast.
you know, and just to kind of like expand on what you were saying, I feel like even if you don't go the Cheerio route, like Rakdos is so chaotic, and you can do Rakdos Spellslinger, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
And just the cards you can do to just continue to help you draw cards like Faithless Looting, or even the new Laughing Mad card. I think this is so viable, it's not even funny. So I think this is super strong.
Yeah, you said it perfectly, right? Those 2 cards that you just mentioned, anything with flashback, like you just continue to chain off these cards. It's like 2 damage, 4 damage, 6 damage. It's like, okay, I'm losing life very quickly. But the only downfall, removal, right? You kill Black Waltz, your deck is just playing spells. It's not necessarily doing damage. It's a bummer. But
yeah,
let's move on to the grades. Steven, we'll start with you.
I mean, I'm holding out my A for right now, but I am going to give this a B. I think this is super strong. I think it's very interesting because like when we were doing the monocolored, we were kind of all over the place. We did A's, B's, C's, D's, F's, but like starting off the multi-grade, pretty good.
Mentioned in the beginning, I think these cards are way better than the monocolored cards, and so far we've seen it. And I'm agreeing with you. I'm giving Black Waltz a B as well, which leads us to our average grade for Black Waltz is a B. Next up is a double-faced card. This is Cecil Dark Knight. It is 1 black mana for a 2/3 legendary creature, human knight. It has Death Touch. It also has Darkness, which means whenever Cecil deals damage, you lose that much life. Then, if your life total is less than or equal to half your starting life total, untap Cecil and transform it. Once transformed, it turns into Cecil Redeemed Paladin. It is a 4/4 legendary creature, human knight. It has lifelink and protect, which means whenever Cecil attacks, other attacking creatures gain indestructible until end of turn. Steven, this is very much a standard card. I don't know how viable it is in EDH because losing half of your life just to get this to flip, your opponent will just and dead.
So here's the thing, and we had this conversation right before we started this video about this being like a standard all-star, right? Commander, not so much, but I think, now that I think about it just a touch more, with Edge of Eternities, there's a brand new card called, and I think it's either the Edge or the End Stone.
Mm-hmm. The End Stone.
Yeah, so the End Stone that basically refreshes you back to half your life. So maybe now Cecil has a little bit of a way to be better in Commander.
That's 1 card out of 100 that you're talking about to help this card, Steven. I don't think that's very doable.
I think it is. I mean, Aristocrats, you're drawing a bunch of cards, you're doing the thing. Now, obviously, like at this point, like when I think if Cecil's my commander, I don't think, okay, I'm starting at 40. I think okay, I'm at 20 life. I need to get this game done. So, I mean, I feel like Cecil is doable. Like you said, it is 1 card out of the full, like the whole 100 out of the deck, but still pretty cool. Like a little cool tech in there.
I'm sticking to it's not doable. I'm not a fan of this. Like, if it gave itself protection on the backside, maybe I'd be a little higher. But the moment you have half your life and then you're like, all right, I'm going to start gaining my life back with this now flipped card, my opponent will say, no, that card's dead now. You can play Cecil again. And you have to deal damage to get it to flip again. And at that point, your life total's getting low, 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 low. I'm not a fan of those strategies of ruining my life total to get a payoff that honestly is so minimum in this situation that it's just not for me.
All right, let's move on to the grades then, buddy.
Okay, I'm actually going to give this a D, Steven. I am not a fan of this card.
All right, well, I know I talked it up, but it's still not the best. I won't go as low as a D, but I will go up to a C. I think with Edge of Eternity's coming out, I think this will get some cool new tech. And then obviously Aristocrats, I do love that strategy. So I think it's doable, just not, it's like middle of the road doable in my mind.
Well, Cecil Dark Knight gets the average grade of a C. Next up is Choco, Seeker of Paradise. It's 1 green, white, and blue for a 3/5 legendary creature bird. It says whenever one or more birds you control attack, look at that many cards from the top of your library. You may put one of them into your hand and then put any number of land cards from among them onto the battlefield tapped and the rest into your graveyard. It also has landfall that says whenever a land you control enters, Choco gets +1/+0 until end of turn. Now, I went ahead and built a deck tech using Choco, Seeker of Paradise. If you guys wanted to check that out, link in the description. It's a pretty spicy build. With that being said, I am a huge fan of this card. Getting a bunch of lands off the top of your library just onto the battlefield is such a powerful effect. There's so many different ways you can manipulate the top of your library too that you can always just hit. And then just put in all those other landfall cards alongside this. Put a bunch of birds. There's so many different birds from this set that also have landfall. Yeah, this card is a slam dunk for me.
Yeah, super viable. It's got good colors for protection and also kind of help you ramp as long as this card as well. I mean, this card helps you ramp too, which is just insane because enough birds on the field, like even if Choco dies, like, I mean, what? You just ramped at least maybe 2 lands. So being able to put just a singular card into your hand seems like it's pretty not great. But if the rest of them are lands, you've just ramped so much. It's not even funny.
Yeah, exactly. I'm perfectly fine with just, this is just like, hey, swing, attack, put one in your hand. And if you, it's in May too. So if you just see one land, you're like, you know what? It's going on the field. This is like explore kind of ramped up.
Yeah, this is way better than Explore. I love this so much.
I really do as well. I think that's a quick one, Steven. I think we can move on to the grades already.
Yeah, I mean, you pretty much said everything that needed to be said. I wanted to add my little particular matters like color, like for protection, and also removal. I mean, that white pip, it's going to hurt somebody. Somebody's getting swords or plowed.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades, Steven. I'll kick us off. When I built this deck, I fell in love. This is an A.
Yeah, I'll have to give this an A2. Coming in at 4 mana isn't that bad because you're able to put some extra birds on the field prior to this. And then once this comes down, that triggers hitting that stack.
Yep. This doesn't even need to attack. It's just whenever you attack with birds. Choco, Seeker of Paradise, gets the average grade of an A. Next up is Sid, Timeless Artificer. 2 white, blue, 4/4 legendary creature human artificer. Artifact creatures and heroes you control get +1/+1 for each artificer you control and each artificer card in your graveyard. A deck can have any number of cards named Sid, Timeless Artificer. It's also got cycling of a white and a blue, which, you know what, Steven? This could be your commander, and you could fill your deck with the same card.
Yeah.
I think that's hilarious.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even know if I want anything else in my deck other than Sid.
I will say, though, even though a deck can have any number of named Sid, they are legends, which means they do die to the legend rule.
This is true.
It's the only downside. Granted, obviously you're probably going to put in stuff that say it doesn't matter about legendaries, like Mirror Box. It's an interesting card.
Yeah, you know, when I think about building this card, I know I made that joke earlier, but like I think in all honesty, I want to build this not with a ton of SIDS. I'm probably building this with like maybe we'll say 10 to 15 max, and the rest are just like artifact payoffs.
Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong, but I'll tell you what, I did bash it a little bit because of legend rule, but the legend rule matters in this situation, right? Because legend rule, you're gonna pitch one to your grave. Well, guess what? It gets +1/+1 for each one in your grave. So
Yeah,
it's just gonna bump itself up. It's a very interesting
granted,
strategy.
it is an interesting strategy. I don't know why you would want to pay 4 to
Cycle it
cast
away.
it again
Yeah.
instead of cycling it away, but you can legend rule it if you really want.
I think the best part is you cast this from your command zone. It dies. You let it go to the grave because you have more in your deck.
Yeah, it's a valid point.
It's really funny. You'll
It is
never.
crazy to think that there's a
There's
card in my command zone, and I also have like maybe 3 in hand. That's so funny to me.
yeah. It's like, all right, I'm gonna cast my commander. Oh, it died. Okay, well I cast my commander from my hand with a different art
Is this
because
the
there's 15 arts.
is this the first time that we've seen a legendary creature that has this piece of text?
Yeah, most of the time it's not legendary, which makes sense because they don't die from the legend rule. Uh,
Yeah.
but hey, you want to die from the legend rule for this because you want to fill your graveyard with them.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm here for it. I love blue white. I think it's probably one of my favorite color pairings. Uh, obviously, Demir is number one, but I love artifacts. I've been wanting to build an artifact deck for so long. Do I think this is the one? Probably not, because I also think all the Sids are like so expensive right now.
Yeah, I mean, this, I don't think it's necessarily an artifact deck because it cares just about artifact creatures and heroes, and then artificers in your grave. But I do kind of like it. It's very interesting lane. I think it's hilarious to just make one of these Sids giant because all the other ones are in the grave, and then you could protect it in these colors. So
Yeah, it is kind of funny because, like, well, you know what I'll say that I don't like about it? It's almost as if this card's a dead card in your command zone.
it's extra value in your command zone. You know what it
Yeah.
is? I just thought about it. Because you're going to have so many in your hand and in your deck, I think your commander is like backup to what you have in your hand. It's like, I ran out of it. I got to play one from my command zone finally.
It's such an interesting card. Yeah, let's move on to grades. I don't know where I'm at here.
All right, we'll start with you though.
I'm gonna I'm gonna give this a C.
Yeah,
I wanted to give this a B, but it's just it's a little too wonky. I can see a plan, I just can't put it together.
I think it's wonky as well, but I am in completely agreement with you. This is a C for me too, which gives Sid the average grade of a C. Next up, Cloud of Darkness. 2 black, 2 green for a 3/3 legendary creature avatar. It's got flying and particle beam, which means whenever Cloud of Darkness enters, target creature an opponent controls gets -X till end of turn, where X is the number of permanent cards in your graveyard. This is not good.
Nope. This is a quick one.
Yeah, 5 mana for a 3/3 that does 1 ETB trigger on 1 creature. That is rough. This is one of those cards that care deeply about standard or a limited environment, but not necessarily for EDH.
Yeah, it's really I don't want to pay 5 mana to have a removal spell in my command zone. Like, I could just fill my deck up with removal spells. Like, plus I feel really bad if I spend 5 mana, I've milled a bunch of cards in my graveyard, and somebody just casts something and gives some that creature hexproof.
The
Like,
only upside is that this gets around indestructible. That's it.
Yes, you're very right.
Don't even know if I'm playing this in the 99, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think it's that good
I
of
am
a card.
not.
Let's move on to the grades. It was a quick one. This is an F for me.
Yeah, double up on the F there.
Well, Cloud of Darkness gets the average grade of an F. Moving on to a different type of cloud. It's Cloud Planets Champion. 3 red, white for a 4/4 legendary creature human soldier mercenary. During your turn, as long as Cloud is equipped, it has double strike and indestructible. Equipped abilities you activate that target Cloud cost 2 less to activate. We've got another Cloud that cares about equipment.
Yep. A cloud that I don't care about.
Really? I think this Cloud's pretty powerful.
No.
No?
No.
Why?
Why would I not just play the other cloud, get an extra color? It's the same mana cost, and it does more.
I mean, it does different things, right? You attached 1 equipment to this. It now has double strike and indestructible on whatever it else has that the equipment had. Plus, the equipment that you attach to it is cheaper. If it was an equip cost of 2, it's just free. I think that's pretty powerful.
Or I can just play the other cloud, which is the same mana cost, and again, have an extra color. And then whatever equipment I want to put on it, it'll probably give it that 7 power that I need. And then I get to make 2 treasures and draw a card.
I understand what you're saying, but I'm just saying they're different lanes. If you wanted to just take it into a different kind of area, this one you can do. Or you could throw this one in that one.
I mean, if it wasn't for the fact that it said during your turn, like I feel like maybe I'd be higher on it, but just that one restriction does kind of suck.
I'm swinging every time with this. This is Boros. We swing here.
Not me. I like to sit back with my Grand Arbiter.
Okay, that's fair. All right, Steven, you're not a fan of this card. We'll move on to the grades really quick. What are you giving Cloud, Planet's champion?
C is for Cloud.
C is
Somebody
for
give it a
Cloud.
C.
You know what? I think it's viable. I'm gonna give this a B. I kind of like it. I think this is your Voltron commander. This is gonna get a bunch of equipment on it for essentially free, depending on the equipment cost, and then just swing in with double strike and indestructible. People are dying quickly with commander damage. So Cloud, Planet's champion, average grade, B. Moving back into another double phase card, this is Emet-Selch, Unsundered. 1 blue black for a 2/4 legendary creature, Elder Wizard. It's got vigilance, and it says whenever Emet-Selch enters or attacks, draw a card, then discard a card. At the beginning of your upkeep, if there are 14 or more cards in your graveyard, you may transform Emet-Selch. Once transformed, it turns into Hades, Sorcerer of Eld. It is a 6/6 legendary creature avatar. It's got vigilance and Echo of the Lost, which means during your turn, you may play cards from your graveyard. If a card or token would be put into your graveyard from anywhere, exile it instead. It's a pretty cool card.
Yeah.
3 mana.
That stuff.
It starts really easily. I will say, downside, backside. Now that you have it flipped, even if you're casting spells from your hand, they go to exile.
Yeah, it's not the best. That last little piece of text on the backside. The front side's nice because obviously you get to rummage through your deck a little bit to find some spells, and obviously you're feeding your graveyard with the spells you want to cast a little bit later. So that's nice. It is a little unfortunate because this kind of comes down, can't really attack, so you're just doing the rummage thing one time, which is good for 3 mana, I think. But then you got to wait your whole turn cycle to basically do the thing. Now, granted, I do like it when it transforms. It is a 6/6 with vigilance, which is really strong. And then you get to play around with your graveyard.
Yeah, definitely. Casting spells again is always a powerful effect. We've seen those kind of effects before. Being able to cast stuff from your graveyard is nothing to scoff at. However, I wish it would say if a card would be put into your graveyard, being cast from your graveyard this way is exiled instead of just having it like, you know what? From now on, just my cards are just going into exile, no matter where they're from. It's not great. Especially
It's crazy too.
It's if a card or token, which means if this is flipped
Yeah.
and your opponent kills any of your other creatures on the battlefield or anything on the battlefield, that's exiled down too.
Yeah, even the token part's kind of crazy too.
Yeah. I mean, that just means that you can't get that graveyard trigger off of your tokens. It's just exiled. It's a weird card.
Yeah, I mean, I'm here for it because, like, obviously Dimir, and I love 3 mana commanders.
Mhm.
I just there are so many cards that just give your stuff flashback that just make it a little bit easier. And I just don't know if I'm kind of like here for this one in particular.
I think it's funny that it cares about having 14 cards in your grave because probably, I mean, this is Final Fantasy 14, so that's probably why they gave the nod there. It's kind of a lot of cards, but it's very easy to do with the rummaging effect that you were talking about. So I don't know.
Yeah, because see, here's the thing too, because like I originally thought, I read the backside. I was like, oh, during your turn, you may play cards from your graveyard. This cares about cards being in your graveyard. Just run them as Mirror Corp. Well, if this is flipped on the backside and you have a shit ton of cards getting milled to Mesmericorp, they're getting exiled.
They're just getting straight exiled, yeah. Any kind of self-mill effect is now just straight to exile.
Yeah.
Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grid, Steven. I'll kick us off. This is a C for me.
Oh, I don't even know if I'm that high, which sucks to say. My heart's telling me this is a D.
Wow. Well, Emet-Selch gets the average grade of a C. Next up is Exdeath, Void Warlock. It's 1 black and a green for a 3/3 legendary creature, Spirit Warlock. It says when Exdeath enters, you gain 3 life. At the beginning of your end step, if there are 6 or more permanent cards in your graveyard, transform Exdeath. Once transformed, it turns into Neo Exdeath, Dimension's End. It is a star 3 legendary creature spirit avatar, has trample, and its power is equal to the number of permanent cards in your graveyard.
Someone's gonna die.
So, this is this could kill someone pretty quick, right?
I mean, this is Golgari. Like, Golgari cares nothing but the graveyard. You know what I mean? Like, this is really strong. I think the flavor text on the top, gain 3 life. It's kind of nice because let's be honest, it has 3 power on the backside. So after you swing with this, if they just block to take less commander damage, it's gonna die. So you're just gonna get swung at, and then boom, you get to gain some life back for probably killing somebody with commander damage.
Yeah, the fact that it says permanent cards and not just like non-land permanents. So this is your self-mill deck. We were just talking about Emet-Selch, but like this, you're self-milling, you're constantly filling up your grave. You do not care what goes in your graveyard. You're probably building this with just a bunch of creatures, a bunch of permanents, a bunch of lands. Just keep filling the grave. This will get massive. It has trample. You're going to kill somebody.
Yeah. I really do actually enjoy this card quite a bit. 3 mana cost is like a good sweet spot for me. And it's not hard to hit that. I mean, 6 cards is just so easy.
Love the fact that it also flips on the turn. This can drop. However, once this flips and someone sees how big the power is at the moment, this is probably going to eat removal before you get your next turn.
Yeah, but you'll get 3 life back.
You will get 3 life back once you play it again. Yeah, let's move on to the grade, Steven. What are you giving Exdeath?
I'm gonna give this a C. I think it's middle of the road. I think it is pretty strong, but like, it's nothing like that you haven't seen before.
Yeah, you know what? You took the words right out of my mouth. I'm giving this a C as well for the exact same reasons. It's not something we haven't seen filling up your graveyard, like old Rutstein type situations and doing stuff, Golgari's shenanigans. Exdeath gets the average grade of a C. Moving on to Garland, Knight of Cornelia. This is black and a red for a 3/2 legendary creature human knight. It says whenever you cast a non-creature spell, you surveil 1. And then you can pay 3, 2 black, 2 red to return this card from your graveyard to the battlefield transformed. Activate only as a sorcery. Once transformed, it does turn into Chaos, the Endless. It is a 5/5 legendary creature demon. It's got flying, and when Chaos dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library. Obviously, when it dies and it's your commander, by switching zones, you can put it back in the command zone. But that is an expensive rate to turn this from, like, this. You want this in your graveyard, and then you can spend 7 mana to get a 5/5 flyer. That's not good. That's not good.
No, this card's really bad. I mean, 2 mana, 3/2, pretty strong. Surveilling, kind of cool. You're probably going to be doing some Rakdos Spellslinger type shenanigans, especially with this caring about non-creature spells. But 7 mana to flip this is super aggressive. And then when it dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library.
Yeah.
Like, this is not meant for commander. This is limited, standard. It's just, no.
I can't say anything else that you've already said, so I think we could just move on to the grades. I'm giving this one an F.
Big ol' F-ski.
Well, Garland gets the average grade of an F. Next up is Garnet, Princess of Alexandria. It is a green and a white for a 2/2 legendary creature human noble cleric. It's got lifelink and says whenever Garnet attacks, you may remove a lore counter from each of any number of sagas you control. You put a +1/+1 counter on Garnet for each lore counter removed this way. There's a saga commander.
Nope.
No. Why?
2 colors.
And?
I don't want it. I'll just play Terra.
I mean, this is awesome. If you want to run a 2-colored saga commander, this seems very doable. Your sagas get to stay around for longer because it's removing the lore counters. It's growing this. You're gaining more life when this grows. I'm here for it.
Or I can put this as support for Terra.
I mean, you're not wrong. This is a good support piece as well. But This card seems fun if you wanted to run it.
Yeah, if you want to run it, that's all up to you. I would not want to restrict myself to 2 colors when I can do 5 color. 5 color good stuff is way more fun.
I mean, sure. But if you're only trying to find like a budget build, I think Garnet, Princess of Alexandria is definitely a lane you can take it. This comes down super cheap for 2 mana, and then you just start doing your stuff with lore counters. So I'm here for it.
Yeah, I mean, you have to attack, and you're only removing a lore counter from each of up to any number of the sagas you control.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, it'll get big fast for sure. I agree, but it's still. I just feel like it restricts what I want to do. And if I want to go wide, play like all sorts of enchantment sagas, I think I'd rather have the ability to do that with a card that will flip, give me a ton of mana, as in Terra is what I'm talking about. Sorry, and then also copy one of those enchantments too. So, I mean, I am here for this. I see why you like it. If this is something you want to run, please run it. But there's a card that does it way better in my mind.
Let's move on to the grades. I still think it's viable. I'm giving it a C.
Yep, I mean it's middle of the road. I'm gonna give it a C.
Garnet, Princess of Alexandria, gets the average grade of a C. Next up, we got a king. This is Giott, King of the Dwarves. It is a red and a white for a 1/1 legendary creature dwarf noble. It has double strike, and whenever Giott or another dwarf you control enters, and whenever an equipment you control enters, you may discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Dwarf equipment.
Yeah, that's cute.
It's funny because dwarves like equipment and hammers.
Yeah, I mean the way it's funny because like the way I see this is like dwarves like the newest shiniest of things. So like the new equipment comes down and you're just like, oh, I don't want this trash in my hand. Let me find something else.
Yeah, pretty much exactly. I like. I think this is. I mean, it is only a 1/1, which is kind of a bummer. But I keep saying it with like red Boros. Everything from this set so far is just like we care about equipment. Um, I don't. There's so many cards that care about equipment in this set because I get it. Like Final Fantasy having different equipment is a thing, but I don't know how viable I want to build this one.
I mean, I think this is a really good support piece in an equipment deck. Now, granted, you don't really care about the dwarves per se, because you're probably not building a commander that cares a lot about dwarves. But if you have equipment that's entering, you still get to do the thing. And in Equip Matters deck, it's probably happening a lot.
That's true, but I don't know. There are different options to do that. Drawing a card for equipment. There is a thing called Pure Steel Paladin, which just draws you instead of discarding when an equipment enters.
Yeah, but I mean that's what I was saying. I wasn't trying to pump this card up. I'm saying this is a good support piece.
It's okay. Let's move on to the grades. I'm actually going to give this one a D.
Yeah, I'm pretty much there with you. I think I'll align with that thought process.
Well, Giott, King of the Dwarfs, gets the average grade of a D. Next up is Gladiolus Amicitia, maybe. 4 red and a green for a 6/6 legendary creature human warrior. It says when it enters, search your library for a land, put it onto the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. And it's got landfall. Whenever a land you control enters, target. And it's got landfall that says whenever a land you control enters, another target creature you control gets +2/+2 and gains trample until end of turn. This is a very large spell to do that effect.
It is, but I think nobody really cares about the landfall effect.
Really?
I think what people are, yeah, I think what people are looking at here is like this is like a Golos style commander or a Primeval Titan, you know, being able to have this enter and you search for any land.
Mm-hmm.
This says search for a land card. So you are finding that land, the one that really matters to you.
It's true.
Glacial Chasm, you can find Gaia's Cradle if you have, no budget whatsoever. I mean, just whatever you need at that current moment, you can go find it. So to me, this is a Gruul landfall deck. You're putting some big creatures in. You have some really amazing lands, and I think this is pretty good. Like I've never had an issue in Gruul like with ramping. So
Oh,
I don't know, man.
don't get me wrong. I know your primetime effect is right there, grabbing a land. And you can blink this with different effects that are colorless.
Make
Conjurer's
copies of it
Closet.
in red.
Conjurer's Closet. Yeah, you can also make copies. It's true. I wouldn't scoff at the landfall though. I think the landfall part is pretty powerful. You're going to give something +2/+2 for every land that enters. I mean, if you just mentioned a bunch of copies, this will trigger off of that. They will die to legend rule, but they will essentially get all of those lands into play. I don't know. The upside, I can see it. The downside is that it's not as powerful as I want it to be, which is weird to say because grabbing any land, grab Field of the Dead, seems pretty good.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I'll just put it to you like this: crop rotation, game changer.
Not wrong. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades, Steven. We'll start with you.
I mean, I'm pretty high on this. I'm gonna put this at a B. I think just being able to search for whatever land you want is a super amazing ability on a card that you don't really see that much anymore. And if you want to try and find a certain land in your deck, you need something like a crop rotation. And that's a game changer. It basically makes your deck a little bit higher on the bracket when it might not need to be. 6 mana is a little aggressive, so I think that's why I'm down 1 from an A.
I'm going to give one lower. I'm giving this a C. And the reason is it's not my playstyle. It's not something I personally like. Build it. Show us your deck list. Comment down below. But just not for me. But either way, Gladiolus Amicitia gets the average grade of a B. And the final card we are talking about today, because this is just part 1 of the multicolored legendaries, it's Golbez, Crystal Collector. It's blue and a black for a 1/4 legendary creature human wizard. It says whenever an artifact you control enters, you surveil 1, and at the beginning of your end step, if you control 4 or more artifacts, return target creature card from your graveyard to your hand. Then, if you control 8 or more artifacts, each opponent loses life equal to that card's power. This is an interesting card, Steven, and you love Dimir.
I mean, this is a really good card. Dimir artifacts matters, and then you're just basically dumping stuff into your graveyard to bring it back, hopefully. I think this is pretty cool. I've seen a couple cool deck tech ideas where, Phyrexian Dreadnought, I think is the 1 mana 12/12.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah, something like that. Where you basically just, deal 12 damage to your opponents. So I think that kind of, I mean, now granted, one card in the 100, but in an artifact deck with blue for tutor and black for tutor, I think you'll be fine. Plus, this comes down super cheap. It's got a big butt, so you're probably safe for a few turns so you can build up that board state that you need. If anyone casts Vandal Blast or Farewell, you hate your life.
Yeah, that's true for any kind of effects like that. You just mentioned how you really wanted to build an artifact card. You love Dimir. It's your favorite color combination. I don't know. This could be one on your radar. I do feel like just continuously pitching the biggest creature you have into your graveyard and doing that on each end step over and over. It's like, oh, you guys are going to lose, like you just said, 12 life again. Oh, no. Oh, I have another card that can discard a card out of my hand. Just constant, just losing life, losing life, losing life. I kind of like it. I could see being built. Not my strategy, but hey, Golbez, Crystal Collector is pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, just like you said, Hunter, I mean, dealing 36 damage across the table in one little just end step trigger is pretty wild and pretty cool to me. Plus, I've been trying to build a deck where I can put that beautiful, beautiful Ugin from the Tarkir set into, and this might be it.
Not a bad include. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grade, Steven. We'll start with you because you are a Dimir player. How do you feel about Golbez?
I'm going to put this at a B. I want to give it an A because obviously it's Dimir and it deserves it. But it's still a little tricky, and just granted, one piece of really board altering removal is going to ruin it. And there's so many exile target player graveyard effects that it's a little bit too fragile.
Yeah, that's fair. I'm gonna go one lower once again. I think Golbez is a C just for me, but yeah. Golbez Crystal Collector gets the average grade of a B. And that is going to do it for part 1 of the multicolored legendary creatures from Final Fantasy that can be your commander. Did you guys agree with these grades? Maybe you disagreed. Always interested to hear your guys' opinions down there in the comment section as well. Drop a link to your deck list of one of these cards that maybe we didn't like that you feel like we should take more look at. Just drop it down there. Also, while you're down there, hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribed because you don't want to miss out on any future content. We're almost at 20,000 subs. We'd appreciate if you would join the party because at 20,000, we are going to be doing a giveaway. But yeah, check the links for the other videos in the description down below as well if you guys wanted to check out our other grades. And also the deck tech that I mentioned, and also all of our social media links to follow us on those as well. And on the screen right now, those are all of our Patreon subscribers. Thank you guys so much for your added support. It really does mean the world to us. If you guys wanted to check out what they're seeing, which is not here on YouTube, please click the link in the description as well. And consider subscribing. And a very special shout out to our Gains Indestructible tier, starting with Aaron Hill,
Aaron Martin,
Brian Ganella,
Daryl Tripp,
Demarion Turner,
Dr. Rome,
Jimmy Ward,
Jay Pizzle,
Kevo,
Larry Killian,
Samuel Abbott,
Thrifty, PSGR,
and William Colombo. You guys are awesome. Appreciate every single one of you. And until the next video, I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Did we talk about any mill?